You are listening to the Beaverton, North America's trusted source of news.
This week on the Beaverton, Alberta gets a head start on their plans to join the U.S. by banning books. Pierre Poilievre says the speech from the throne reaffirmed Canada's traditions, specifically the tradition of keeping Pierre Poilievre as far away from everyone else as possible. Former Israeli PM Ehud Olmert says his country is committing war crimes in Gaza. Canadian media immediately responded by calling him an anti-Semite. That's right, it's time to make fun of the news once again. It's the Beaverton Weekly Report, Watch the Throne Speech Edition. Welcome to the show, everyone. So glad you're tuning in. My name is Luke Gornfield. I am on a ton of muscle relaxants for my back, so get ready for the loopiest episode of the Beaverton Weekly Report you've ever heard. Joining me this week are three of our regular panelists, all of whom are still a bit drunk from their speech from the throne viewing party. Nas again, Ian McIntyre, and Claire Blackwood. Welcome all.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm also on muscle relaxants because of my back. I just did air quotes for you.
And I'm on meth.
Because of your back.
Because of my back.
Yeah. Take a shot of meth every time King Charles mentioned, free and decent democracy or whatever.
Yeah, or mentioned money in general. That was my shot.
Yeah, you guys, I'm just high on the throne speech.
Aw, he was so inspiring and lively.
Well, that leads us perfectly segueing into our top story, which is, of course, the speech from the throne that just happened earlier today as we record, yesterday for you listeners. Those of you who downloaded it on the first day, at least, which are the only ones we care about. But
let's get more in the weeds, please.
Yeah, 24 hours. If you're not doing it in 24 hours, you're meaningless to the advertisers that we don't have because we're Patreon based. Anyways, King Charles delivered the speech from the throne. If you haven't heard, it was the first time in I think 50 years that the actual monarch delivered the speech from the throne. Did it mean more to you to have an actual king deliver it?
I don't care about the monarchy.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be involved anymore. And I got a lot of people being mad at me on the internet today for even implying that in the basic sense.
What was your joke again? I forget.
It was barely a joke. It was just like, I'm not interested in hearing about English kings until they start doing cool shit again, like dying of eels. I don't.
That's a good joke.
Yeah, and then people were like,
How do you get upset at that?
Oh, well, no, I was just saying, the fact that we're still technically ruled by a king is so cringe. And people got very mad and said, well, compared to being ruled by a dictator down south. And I'm like, there's a secret third option here.
It's called anything else.
It's called our own sovereignty. Sovereignty.
There is, and we said off mic that this was on Blue Sky. There is on Blue Sky, and don't get me wrong, Blue Sky followers, we love you. But there is on Blue Sky a very clear, anything that makes fun of Canada is pro-Trump. Anything that makes fun of the Liberals is pro-conservative. It's a little bit there's the sense of humor at being willing to laugh at yourself isn't there yet. They can laugh at the people they don't agree with as much as you want.
That's all the Twitter refugees.
Yeah, exactly.
They got PTSD.
I know.
They're just waiting for the punch to come.
I prefer Blue Sky to all the other ones.
Yes.
I'm so happy we're getting to a point where people realize maybe it's all garbage. Maybe we need none of this.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when we did our first episode of this, the relaunch version of the podcast, and our first video clip that went up was making fun of Mark Carney, as you might recall. And people on everyone else was like, hey, funny joke or whatever. People on Blue Sky were so mad because it was immediately like, when are you going to make fun of Poilievre? And it's like, listen to any other part of the episode.
We got this great website we've been doing for several years.
Read any article on our website.
That little video was the tax we paid to make fun of Poilievre for the rest of the episode.
And it was like, wow, way to punch down on his looks.
Yeah.
This was the softest shit.
It was insane that people got mad at that. But hey, what are you going to do?
Whatever.
But yes.
Anyway, people love the king. People love the king on Blue Sky, and I'm so sorry that I implied that he shouldn't be ruling over us anymore.
Well, if it helps, you are in the majority, because I will say that Angus Reid did a poll and found 83% of people did not care that the king was delivering the throne speech.
It's got real vibes of when you're working at your office and the regional VP comes by for a day and is like, oh, yes, I see you're all doing good work here, I guess. And he doesn't know anyone's name. And you're like, oh, yeah, that guy.
He doesn't even know what the company does.
Right? Yeah, he inherited it.
You do. Yeah.
Which is bang on. I bet you money he has no idea what happens here.
Absolutely
I bet
not.
you.
Absolutely
He
not.
had. I loved when he was like, and in conclusion, the true North is indeed strong and free. And it's like this huge applause line, and he was like, "Is that a thing you say here?" I have no idea.
Overwhelmed. Like, oh, wait, is that an applause break?
Oh, okay, I guess.
Au revoir.
There was that, and then also there's something so funny about a hereditary billionaire who's never worked a day in his life being like, and we shall cut HST on the homes for you who did not inherit castles.
And families shall be getting $840.
He's like, I have that on me. Can I just give it to them?
Listen, I like that all of our impressions are slowly getting sort of Gandalf-y.
Yes.
Like a kind of Gandalf dropping a prophecy.
Yeah.
And there shall not be tax on, like,
I mean, I'm pretty sure
Run,
they're
you
both
fools.
the same age.
and just
Sorry, I stepped on that,
magical.
Claire. That was very funny.
Yeah, it also the whole thing kind of felt like a corporate that a comedian does when they go to a company, and it's like someone has prepared remarks for them that are like, "How about those new T13 staplers?" And they're like, "I have no idea what this is, but you all seem to be eating it up."
I heard that you folks can't afford mentions.
Yeah.
How strange.
Anyway, next is the raffle.
So before we go, we have the 50-50 draw. If you could all just take a moment, and we will draw the numbers.
The winner gets to kiss my ring.
Why wasn't he wearing the crown? I came for a crown.
At this point, if you're gonna come and do this, you gotta have a crown, a scepter, with
yeah.
that big red robe with the fur.
Furry cape.
And I feel
yeah.
like they
like-
were trying to get away from that, though, because all we make fun of them for over there is the fact that they are so unabashedly unaware of just like sitting in their lavish palaces with gold and crowns
Yeah.
and crowns upon crowns. And I feel like over here they kind of wanted to present themselves as a more, I'm in a suit and I'm not.
Yeah, but that's not our problem.
Yeah.
We paid for the show.
Literally, we paid a lot of money.
That's crazy.
I did like the tricorn hats that everybody was wearing. That was really cute.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
All the
look at
people
that.
walking alongside the carriage. That was the hats they
Yeah,
were
and like
wearing, right?
inside they were doing their little speeches with their little tricorn hats, and it was adorable.
Can I share a moment of ultimate ignorance?
Yeah, sure.
I didn't know that the king was still a thing. Like, I know that it was kind of like I thought the king was like adjacent, like sort of like it was all on paper. That he wasn't going to come do this anymore. I feel like
Well, it has
Okay,
been
I
feel like
50
it's-
years.
I
In
feel like-
fairness, style, he thought the same thing.
Did you feel like it was just the queen died and that was it?
No, what it feels like, I was under the impression that like, it's kind of like if we bought a house and the previous owner shows up and is just like, all right, I'm going to have dinner. And you're like, what? No, wait, like, hold on. Are we still, I bought the house though. Anyways.
And then you read your mortgage and it's like, no, he's allowed to do that.
It's actually in the terms of sale.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
This is weird to me.
No, I completely agree. There is that moment that I have once a year, and obviously when he comes, it's more direct, but like once a year, there'll be some news story about the monarchy, and I'm like, those stupid Brits. And then I'm like, oh shit, technically us too.
Come on.
And
He's on our money.
Yeah, it's like it really does go like, oh man, I forgot about this shit. And then you remember, oh yeah, technically this is still a thing. And
Do we get
yeah.
something from this?
I mean, we get him coming to read a speech.
There's truly nothing like saying
guess
we're a
there's-
sovereign nation by having our leader come from like England to say, by the way, these guys are independent. I
Yeah.
just happen to rule them.
Well, that was not to get. We'll get into the substance in a second, but that was controversial because like
Yeah.
Keir Starmer's officials did not want him to say anything that was like anti-Trump 51st state thing, which like and he did. Fair credit to him for reading the words that the government wrote for him, but like he did. But it's like how pathetic would that have been that our head of state can't even be like, I mean, don't invade them. Like, that's the level. That's where the bar is. That's so far below the floor that it's insane if you'd refuse to be like, they're an independent country. Don't take them over.
Yeah.
Applause.
Yeah.
The speech from the throne was what it was. There was also there was a few things that happened that were interesting, like Trudeau showing up wearing like bright neon sneakers, and just like the ultimate like, well, the socks weren't doing it for you anymore. I learned that 10 years ago. Remember me, I exist, and you're gonna be talking about these for some bullshit reason.
I was going to say, I saw a picture of that and I was like, I bet they're going absolutely ape shit on Twitter about this.
Yeah.
Like, people are so mad. I bet. I don't know. I did not look at that place.
People were mad that one, he dared to be there, ignoring the fact that other former PMs like Harper were there as well, and two, because they were like, he's supposed to be gone, and two, that there was like any semblance of like him drawing attention. They're like, fine, that we got rid of this guy. Why is he here? And it's like, don't get me wrong, I think the attention grabbing is a fair complaint. To show up to the speech from the throne.
Yeah, but Harper had stripper boots. Like, I don't understand. Are we not going to talk about that?
He made those work.
Just like the big glass heels.
Yeah, it was kinky boots.
6 inch.
He was starring in a production.
He made it work.
I kind of love that for him. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, don't forget, Stephen Harper famously does love movies and TV shows.
Yes, it's true. And plays. Yeah, so there was that. Oh, sorry. What were you
I was just about to say about the sneakers. We all do have to remember that Trudeau, now that he's no longer PM, he is officially just a divorced dad.
Yeah.
And divorced dad just get the worst sneakers imaginable. They have sneaker blindness. They go into a store and they buy anything and they walk out wearing it and they wear it all the time.
Yeah, it was an odd, like, I'm all for cool socks and cool shoes, absolutely. And the shoes were cool. I liked them. They were so wrong for the outfit. Like, that's the thing.
He was doing the Ellen thing. It was a full suit.
Yeah, like, I don't want to tell people how to dress.
And then he made the crowd dance with him.
And he was
then
really
he turned
mean
out
to
to
some
be really
assistants.
mean. Yeah. But it was just like, he has a nice suit and then these shoes. And I was just like, this does not work for me.
Yeah, and he was walking with, was it Carney's wife? He was walking with someone who was like there for the first time kind of deal. And it was like, or like someone who was like, you know, he's bringing her around and showing her around. And it's just like one of those things where it's like, come on, dude. Like, just like, don't get me wrong. You know, he's not a public figure anymore. We can move on from him, but it's one of those things where it's just like, just come on, man. Like, just let it go. You had your time in the sun. It's over. Just like, you know, talk on YouTube with your son about his rap videos some more. God. Do something else. You don't need to bring this energy to these events.
Well, he's heading over to his old high school next. Yeah. Just to hang out and see how everyone's doing.
Jangling his keys around.
Yeah.
Is there any chance he was just doing it for comfort? Is there any
like
chance?
Self-soothing?
I mean, more like, you know, because like you get, like I'm starting to get there where you're like, I'm getting shoes that I like, obviously they have to look proper, but every now and then I'm like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to go full comfort, like full 65-year-old, just a big bundle of soft.
I would say
Maybe
yes.
He's leaning, it's starting, it's the beginning of the end.
But I'm sure this man has comfortable shoes that match that suit.
Yeah, like I think he can afford to go to Walking on a Cloud and drop $150 on some black shoes with some lighter soles.
So the Claire's like, it was the coordination.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you'd be fine. If it coordinated, you'd be fine.
Absolutely.
Okay, fair.
If he'd shown up with like baggy cargo shorts and like a short sleeve Hawaiian t-shirt, the vibe would have been
You're the same
perfect.
color. You're the same colors.
No. I'm saying, like, I love the colors. It was the colors as well, but it's more just like business up top and then skater boy down on his feet, and it just was odd. It was an odd choice.
I'm going to insist we move on from Trudeau's shoes.
No, I'm going to keep
Hard
it here.
disagree.
I'm going to see how many listeners can we burn off.
The other thing that I found fascinating, because I forgot it, was that the speech was in the Senate, not the House. The reason being the monarch can never enter the House of Commons, either in England or here.
Because of vampire rules.
Yes, vampire
unless
rules.
invited.
Yeah, they must be invited in. No, even if invited, they're not allowed. Because of the English Civil War, when King Charles I entered to arrest Oliver Cromwell and the other dissident MPs, and that set off the English Civil War. So since then, the king is banned from the People's House. That's a little fun fact for you there.
I didn't know that at all. That's amazing.
There's no comedy here. It's just a fun little trivia history there for you.
It's like technically the monarch can't enter the city of London if the mayor says no.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Like the city of London, not like there's the
But
city
like
and then
Buckingham
there's
Palace
the
is
bigger...
in London.
I don't know. There's just technically an old law where the mayor can technically ban the monarch from coming into, like, because there's like the old city, right? There's the old city and then there's the big London.
Right. Gotcha.
And they can't,
And that was
Interesting.
because one time he went in to arrest the mayor. And it started Civil War.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure that
Started
happened.
another Civil War.
I'm sure a lot of mayors have fallen under king's blades in English history. There's no way that didn't happen.
Yeah, mayor was a real revolving door back then.
Yeah. The speech on the throne was obviously one part of a royal visit. It was only a 24-hour visit, which is so sad. That's like talking about like the monarchy being reduced. It used to be like a 3-week insane event, and here it's a fly in, fly out. We don't
it's a red eye.
This is like one of those like a former TV star does a casino gig in Regina, just flies in, makes $25K and flies out. That's what this is.
Yeah, 100%.
Charles did head down to Casino Rama.
Thank you. Yes, you were there.
Did a quick show.
Oh, sorry.
No. The fact that we were going to make the same joke is not your fault. It did include stops at the National War Memorial, Rideau Hall, where the king met 3 women who were present at his mother's coronation, all of whom presumably told him how much they preferred her, and meetings with indigenous groups. It was a pretty flawless visit. I mean, for all the joking we're doing about it, which really makes me miss Charles's dad, the Duke of Edinburgh, because he would always say something offensive that would be, back in the day. Obviously, this was pre-podcast, but like that'd be so perfect for podcasts. He'd always say something that was like old school English, sexist or racist enough that you'd be like, "What are you doing?" And then you remember he's 100 years old, and he still is like, "Yes, you natives." And it's like, okay.
I can't believe they let broads out in broad daylight here.
Wait, did you say pre-podcast? I feel like that's okay.
The Duke of Edinburgh making these comments? Yeah, that was pre-podcast, I'm pretty sure. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I think he lived into the podcast era, which I'm sure he was very happy about.
Welcome to the Duke of Edinburgh experience. Holy shit.
Brought to you by Stamps.com.
Listen up, alphas.
I'm just asking questions, that's all. Am I not allowed to answer questions?
Listen, betas of England.
I'll say it here. Charles is a cock. He's a beta cock. Anyways, buy my creatine.
What's great that the listeners don't know is that you're doing the same impression for English royalty that you were doing for me on the ride home from the podcast last week. That's absolutely
that's different. That's different. Okay, we're gonna take a moment. We're gonna go full silence. Now, listeners, let me know if you can tell the difference. If this is me or Luke. Here we go. Anyways, I'm going down to the club. I can't have the steak there. It's ungodly. Huh? Ian is just shocked.
I looked away. Luke, what are you talking about? That's awful.
You sound so rich and pretentious.
I'm just saying it's overcooked there, okay? You can't get a good blue. All right, well, I think we've focused on the pomp as long as we can.
Now the circumstance.
Now the substance, which is, what did you think of the actual substance of the speech, which some people online were shocked to discover was written by Carney and not King Charles himself?
Well, yeah, Carney did keep mouthing along the whole time, all the words. It was weird.
Like holding a gun, being like, say it. Say it.
Say the words HST.
It's like a writer in a writer's room at a table read where you're like, don't fuck up this job. Don't fuck up this joke. My job is on the line.
It's like, oh, you fucked it up.
Just take the landing.
Just a deep sigh every time he mispronounces a word.
I have notes. I have notes on his delivery. I think it was so. I know he's a British monarch and he's very. It was so dry.
Yeah.
Like they did a whole movie one time about a king learning to give speeches good. I believe it was called King Ralph. Come on, Charles. You have one job, as near as I can tell, and it's to give speeches. Like live. Bring the words off the page. I know he was reading it fully for the first time.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the speech was like the minute long of him fuddling with papers.
Yeah, which a lot of people thought was him just trying to be like, how much longer do I have to do this shit?
I did like the differences in like the English versus the French. In terms of the English was like, and we shall be ushering in a new era of cooperation between the Canada and the States, and and the president and prime minister are going to be working together to secure all this kind of like very by the book, very respectful, mutual era of respect, et cetera, et cetera. And then they would switch to French, and they were like, meanwhile, we're going across the pond to get some reliable friends. And you're like, yeah, Trump's not going to listen to that.
See, what's great about French is that it could have been a one-to-one translation, and it would still just come off that way because of the French attitude of like, it's just like these Americans becomes like, these Americans. The words are the same, but it felt wrong. So let's talk about the specific calls, which were essentially, for anyone who followed the campaign, going to sound very familiar because it was basically a campaign pledge. They included increased spending on military, cutting income taxes, development fees, and HST on homes under $1 million, introducing legislation to eliminate federal barriers to international trade by Canada. Quick pause on that one. That one's pretty embarrassing. Like the fact that we didn't sort that out 100 years ago, like we had free trade with the U.S. before we had free trade with ourselves, is a very embarrassing thing.
Trump has shown us a lot. I think Trump is like, it's like a whole bunch of things that we probably should have addressed a long time ago.
No time. The right time was when this happened. The second best time is now, kind of deal.
100%.
Yeah, it's like if there was like a big grocery store across the street from your house in your neighborhood, and you're like, it's so much easier. I'm just gonna get everything from there, and then one day you remember, oh yeah, they're pretty evil. Yeah. There's all these stores in my neighborhood. What sells fish? I don't know. And then you have to figure it all out as you go. And it's like, I should have done this 100 years ago.
Yeah, it's one of those things where obviously we are victims of many things, including geography, which is if you are a business in Ontario, Southern Ontario, it is far easier to trade with New York State than it is to transport to Alberta, for example. Yeah. Obviously, the geography is what it is. We all live, not all, but the vast majority of Canadians live very close to the U.S. border and not very close to each other. I get that. But it's still one of those things that I feel like there's no other country on earth that's like, well, in France, we just trade with Spain because we can't figure out how to trade from Provence to Paris. Like, it's like one of those things where it's like, no, you can figure that out. You should figure that out really quick. Now, the other thing too is like the feds can only do so much because most of the barriers are provincial regulations and like different standards for workers, different standards for health and safety, different standards for commercial trucks. Literally is a huge issue. Like trucks that are allowed to be on the road in Alberta. Many are not allowed to be on the road in BC.
Is that why I see so many discarded trucks at the border?
Yeah.
We just chuck them in a ditch and keep going with a new truck. That's it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, BC's motto is leave your truck.
Take a truck, leave a truck. Yeah.
Leave your truck, smoke a joint is a great motto.
I just keep coming up with mottos. Like last week it was Cyprus. It's Cyprus, baby. That's all I got. Yeah.
Cyprus, baby.
Cyprus, baby.
But yeah, they've done studies and they estimate that the current barriers that are in place for interprovincial trade represent a tariff of 6.9% on all goods, like average on all goods. Obviously, some more on some, less on others, and that just eliminating all these would result in a 200 billion, or I think it was 200, but hundreds of billions of dollars in GDP growth. So it's the most obvious thing in the world to do, and I still know it won't happen because provinces are going to get.
It's too obvious that we won't do it.
Yeah.
It would be way too sensible for us to even consider something. Yeah,
Danielle Smith is currently. She heard that and started planning her list of demands.
A new list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, yes, an additional list upon the list upon the list to be like, well, yeah, if you want me to lower my trade barriers, here's how many pipelines it's going to cost you, asshole.
Yeah, one pipeline per barrier.
Yeah, exactly, per percentage of tariffs.
The other thing in talking about Danielle Smith, one of the other big promises is reducing natural resource project approval from 5 years, which is the current average, to 2. That will not happen. No. I can just say with guaranteed, maybe on some less controversial things like a hydro dam or whatever, but anything that's oil and gas, natural gas, LNG, whatever, that requires pipelines and you need environmental approval, indigenous consultation, not to mention the courts to not veto the whole thing. There is zero chance that gets done fully in 2 years. The government can stamp something, but the project will not start in 2 years. No way.
No,
absolutely.
Let me just put this out there, because this is doesn't matter where I got this fact from, but do you know what the waiting period is on a solar project in Zambia?
You know what? Shockingly, I don't.
It's 48 hours.
That's pretty good.
I can't tell if you're doing a bit and making this
I'm not doing a bit.
Why? Can I
trying to yes and it? I don't know how.
It's for my other podcast where I do like a good news podcast, and that was one I came across where the government has shortened the waiting period to 48 hours because they want to get burning hard on renewables. So meanwhile, we're up here 2 years. I don't know.
That's not
is the 48 hours just to be is the sun going to be out that day? Yes. Good.
I don't know. I have no idea, but I was
yeah. I assume Zambia came out because that's just you weren't looking by country. That's just where the news story came from.
Oh, no, yeah, because they I think the story was that they lowered it because it was something outrageous, like 6 months or something. Where I'm like, I feel like
this
6
is
months
embarrassing.
Yeah, seriously. Anyways, that's where I got that from. Sorry, I totally derailed it.
No, not at all.
people
That's
aren't here
fascinating.
about Zambia. For God's sake.
They're here for facts about King Charles I storming Parliament and trying to arrest Oliver Cromwell.
For all your Zambia news, go to Niall's other podcast that he's been plugging.
Total Zambination.
No, that's my zombie podcast. So they're very close.
I did mispronounce it.
Just an hour of brains.
Apologies to the good people of Zambia. We're jealous of your approval times.
It just always kind of makes me, it's confusing because he'll say, his main thing has been like, we're going to cut costs, spend less so people can invest more and make more money and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, they're like, and then we're going to lower wait times for these projects and we're going to get them done really quickly. And I'm like, you know what helps with that? Money. Like, I don't understand. You have to spend money to get things done. And everything that you're saying is contradictory. I don't. Yeah.
Well, especially because, sorry. No.
It is that thing of like, I'm looking at him like, wow, I really hope he knows something I don't. Like, you're really hoping, you're really, it's fine, it's
and
fine.
he's banker
he knows
daddy, so
something.
he probably does.
Yeah, but maybe?
Surely he's not just saying something that won't actually happen and then hoping no one
crazy.
notices later on.
Yeah, he's not just a wealthy, powerful guy in a suit who's used to getting his own way.
Conservative who's pretending to be a liberal. Both of those parties are so good with adhering to their promises.
Well, I've been hearing a lot about apparently Carney is like he's disciplined daddy coming in
Oh, no.
to his no, I'm sticking with it. Disciplined daddy.
That's already someone's fetish. Immediately, 5 people discovered something about themselves when you said that.
We've opened a new Patreon
Maybe
tier.
the money's going to come from his OnlyFans. His disciplined daddy OnlyFans.
It's just him, like
him and-
to camera, telling you to open a
Don't be
TFSA.
late. Don't be late to the meeting.
But he's like
Look inside
insisting on
yourself.
like British spellings of things. Like if you spell color without a U, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Which is correct. That's the Canadian spelling.
That is the Canadian spelling,
But
yes,
fairness,
yes.
sorry, go ahead.
No, but still, it's just Carney seems to have this real attitude of like, you've all been doing this wrong, I assume.
Yeah.
And he's going to come in and he's going to set everything right. And I really hope that works. And there's a great chance it won't.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of just kind of ick vibes from the whole talks of financial austerity and cutting down, minimizing things, minimizing the government, cutting the waste, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, are we about to get doged? Is that
Yeah.
what, like,
Is he like a slightly smart Trump?
Well, I would say
happening?
slightly
Like,
smart Elon Musk is sort of the comparison at this point. In terms of the Doge stuff, I mean, I don't
With
think
just
it's
as much ketamine.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I don't want to assume
Allegedly.
the worst. I mean, I'm happy to, but I don't want to. But I just, whenever politicians start talking about austerity measures and cutting costs and things like that, I'm like, I know what the first things on the chopping block are going to be. And it's not the taxes on the, it's not, the rich people aren't going to be suffering because of it.
It's this podcast.
Yeah.
You were all right the whole time. We get a ton of government funding.
Yes, that's
You called it.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Patreon is just for our ketamine money. Well, it seems like every time someone comes into government who does not have experience in government, Trump, Musk, Carney, and even people from years ago, like even like I remember this with Paul Martin. The immediate thing they always say is, we are going to show up and find all this waste and cut it in the civil service. And almost immediately, well, not immediately, but within 6 months, it's like, oh, we forgot to pay the people who knew how to keep the water running. Oops. It's one of those things like they just assume, and I get that this is a common assumption, that all the public service is like 4 people napping in a corner somewhere and one guy sending 1 email a month, and like that's the civil service. And it turns out, based on the experience of everyone trying to cut it, apparently there isn't that much fat in the civil service, in the sense that whenever people try and make cuts, things go horribly wrong pretty quickly.
Yes.
So if Carney thinks he can be the scalpel instead of the
Chainsaw.
cleaver, the chainsaw, and he can do it in a smart way that's less disruptive than what Musk tried to do with Doge, which got him bounced even from the Trump administration within months, like that, he can try, and we'll see. I mean, the civil service actually decreased this year for the first time in a decade, mostly because of attrition, not because of like firings or anything. But it's one of those things that, we'll see. And his plan is to shrink it even more. And he also, I think, said something about using AI in the place of civil servants.
God damn it.
Just a nightmare. I don't think in the throat speech, but I think in other times he said, like, so there's so many things that are.
It would have been awesome if it was
to hear King Charles be like,
also be replaced by robots. Moving on. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. What did I just say?
Actually, King is a job that would be great for AI.
Yeah, sure.
You don't really have to get anything done. You can just spout a bunch of bullshit, and if it's wrong, nobody cares.
Yeah.
That's an AI bot right there.
yeah, I mean, if that's how the last Mission Impossible had gone, I think people would have liked it more. The element or whatever the fuck it was called becomes king.
I watched that movie twice, and I don't remember a thing from it.
Well, no spoilers, I guess.
I couldn't if I tried.
Did Elon Musk, Jesus Christ, never mind. Did Ethan Hunt save someone? Never mind.
Elon Musk saved nobody.
Yeah, it's true.
Did Tom Cruise sprint? I'm not watching if he's not sprinting.
Slower than you'd think.
It's slowing down. I'm sorry. Got broken ankles getting to him.
That's true.
Old Yeller.
I mean, he's been trying to die for a while, so I guess that's what.
Chris McQuarrie will have to take him up behind a shed and shoot him.
He's got to get rabies first.
How do we know he doesn't already? All right, moving on. Moving on.
The last thing I want to say about the throat speech is, besides the substance, one thing that was, a great example of how media can kind of shiv someone when they want to. So Poilievre came out and gave a big press conference about the throne speech. He was, despite our joke on the website about him like being outside the Senate looking in through the door, he was there. He was invited. You don't have to be an MP to be invited. In fact, MPs are not allowed in the Senate. They were all watching from the doorway. But there was in the CBC write-up of his press conference.
Our government is so embarrassing.
Sorry, these are all facts. They're not senators and they're not whatever. So the king's not allowed in their house. They're not allowed. It doesn't. Fuck it. Who cares?
It's like
King
a French
Charles I
farce.
stormed in with a
Just slamming doors and back and forth.
It feels like a bad sign for the guy who's like, I'm going to stop all the dumb stuff, that he doesn't stop that dumb stuff. Just be like, yeah, come in, guys. This is stupid.
It's all
Just
one
come in.
building.
You don't have to walk from the doorway. What do we do?
Why are we paying for two buildings?
So silly.
Why are you plebeians in the red chamber? You should be in the green one.
Chuck, come in the House of Commons. Come on. Just like, let's all sit on the carpet. We'll throw on some cushions.
But so CBC, in writing up that he had given this press conference where he attacked what Carney was doing, it's all message, it's no substance, which again, so ironic coming from him, is they threw in a line at the end. Poilievre, who is not an elected MP, spoke from the foyer of West Block, where he's allowed to attend with a visitor's pass. Stay up, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Shiv, gotcha.
That's
Shiv,
the
gotcha.
sexiest sentence I've heard in a while.
He should wear that pass for like the entire time that he's leader of the opposition, because I feel like Doug Ford's coming for him. That is not your job, buddy.
Oh my God. Just the use. I mean, visitor's pass is such a demoralizing
So good.
It was great.
It's pretty great.
Oh, he was there with his dad. He had to hold his hand.
It was take your leader of the opposition to work day.
And then he tried to go behind a door marked staff only, and they kicked him out.
The security guard gave him a little Canada pin.
I did hear.
Oh, in a sucker.
A sucker tap on the head.
I did hear that Poilievre was complaining in his speech about the morbidly obese liberal costs. Weird that we're fat shaming the budget already. But
wow.
this from the guy who wants to spend $2 million on a by-election because he lost his seat.
Amazing.
Like,
Yeah, it's wow. It's like the conservatives are hypocrites when they're talking about deficits and budgets.
Someone has to just like drill him down on like the no words. Because obviously there's the swears, but like he has this vocabulary that's just like innately offensive. It's like the morbidly obese budget with its stupid biological clock and libtard music. It's like, what are we doing
What
here?
a cook budget.
It's like, why are you like this? Just don't be like this.
He's dangerously close to like that point where if there was a big reveal that Carney's just been sending him money along with like, all right, look, I need you to go out there and say this, this, and this.
Please
I don't
keep
think
being
I
the
would be
worst.
any
Yeah.
shocked-
Here's your
I'm
new
shocked at all.
slogan.
I'd be like, oh, this totally scans.
I booked you an interview on Joe Rogan next week. You better fucking be there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, but in like 2015, 2016, there was a genuine belief that like Hillary was rigging or was trying to rig the Republican primaries for Trump because she believed he was so easily beatable.
win.
And obviously, wasn't true and obviously didn't work out if it was. I feel like with Poilievre, were it to come out that the liberals like rigged that leadership conference in his favor, it'd be like, That's smart. What are you going to do? That's smart.
Yeah.
He single-handedly loses elections that are so winnable.
Yes,
that would
yes.
actually like restore my faith in Carney. I'd be like, okay, let's give him a second. That was pretty.
He's cooking.
That's pretty
All
slick.
right.
That's pretty slick. Okay.
Maybe he can figure out this civil service thing. I don't know.
All right, score one for the liberal backroom machine.
Yeah, exactly. And on that wonderful note, it is time for the approximately 10-minute long quiz.
It's the approximately 10-minute long quiz. Brought to you by Time.
Every week, I ask our panel to play the approximately 10-minute long quiz where I put their knowledge of some lesser-known news stories to the test. Our first question, Doug Ford's government is set to pass Bill 5, an act that would allow designated companies to be exempt from what provincial laws?
Laws against crime.
Oh, I was gonna say that. Because like hunting human prey on company retreats, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Very good.
World's
answer.
dangerous
Very good
game.
answer.
I was going to say they can be exempt from any laws they want depending on how much they pay. Like there's a scale and it's like an a la carte menu and you can just pick the laws and then you go to a daughter's wedding and you hand him an envelope full of cash. His daughters are going to get remarried a lot to facilitate these, but
You get a point.
wait, what? No, no, I don't want to live in this world, Luke.
Well,
Tell me
wait,
I'm
what-
wrong.
I take it back. I don't want it.
Because the answer is
Summoned it.
all of them.
Oh God Almighty!
The answer is all the laws.
Especially
all the
environmental
provincial laws and
ones.
regulations, yes, but not limited to. It would give Cabinet the authority to designate any location in Ontario a special economic zone where the government can exempt companies or projects from complying with provincial laws or regulations. Now, provincial, so despite the very funny joke, they can't murder someone because that's a federal law, et cetera, et cetera. The
You have
criminal
to
code is
pay
federal.
extra for
They
that.
can't
Yeah,
declare
yeah.
the purge.
They can't declare the purge yet,
Yes.
but like the purge of like traffic tickets. They can do that. And like speeding on the highway, stuff like that. Anything below 150, I think, because it becomes a crime then. Yeah, so like all provincial laws and regulations, they can just say no. And my theory on this is the Doug Ford loves the notwithstanding clause so much. He loves using it to just be like, the charter? No, haha, no one can stop me. And so he's like, but companies can't use the notwithstanding clause. Only governments can. So he's giving companies their own notwithstanding clause to just say, provincial laws, bye-bye.
Can I give this point back?
It's not gonna change anything. Keep
It's
it.
going on your tombstone.
Keep the point.
I hate this man so much.
Oh God Almighty!
So yes, I am sorry for once again giving you a point you did not want with a joke answer, but you got the answer. But the thing is, they don't even technically have to pay it. Now, I'm sure they are paying.
yeah.
But technically, officially, they don't have to pay anything for it. They just get it as a freebie for attending a wedding.
Doug Ford's going to end up on the board of so many spa companies, you guys.
Oh man.
Yeah, but it turns out they're not even the good spa companies. It's like the Turkish offshoot or Austrian. I forget. It wasn't the German one anyways. Our next question, bit of a grim question. How did a South Carolina man die while visiting a children's petting zoo?
He got shot by police when they saw him petting all those children. Get that perv out of there.
You get a point. No, I'm just kidding.
I had complications from diabetes. Just because I heard South Carolina, I profiled them. Sorry.
I just picked a truly tragic event and threw it in this lighthearted quiz.
I mean, you led off. That first question was just like a right cross, and now this is just. I think is it going to get darker?
It was supposed to be a trick because the answer was all of them. Ha 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 ha.
I have bitten by a venomous toddler.
Ooh. I mean, now I want to read that comic book.
Hell yeah.
Does anyone know the real answer?
No, I don't.
Boxing a kangaroo.
Explain.
Finally,
mean,
those things
that's
are
all the details.
jacked.
Oh
Those things
my-
are jacked and ready to fight you, and like they
Yeah.
are terrifying. looking.
Now, in fairness, I should have mentioned there was a
Have you
kangaroo here
seen
because
it? Have you seen
not
him?
a common
The
petting
jacked
zoo thing.
kangaroo
The jacked
that you saw.
kangaroo.
You see
yeah.
male kangaroos? They are
yeah, they're ripped to
horrifying looking.
shreds,
They're
man.
ripped.
I am aware of the jacked kangaroo, but what I'm saying
Obviously,
is
I'm aware of the jacked
I'm
kangaroo.
obviously I have the internet and sexual needs. What we're saying that this man in a petting zoo with children
Was he
was
dr-
beaten to death by what?
Was
No.
he drunk?
Well, I don't know if he was drunk. So
Am I mis-
here's the
It
details.
was South Carolina, so yes.
So he
had to be to get in.
The guy who died
There's a
was-
2-drink minimum.
It's a 2-drink minimum at the gate. Before you get in,
Not everything is a comedy analogy.
you gotta
The
drink these
children's-
drinks hair.
At the children's petting zoo.
I'm going to tell you how this man died. I don't care how many riffs you do.
Well, we'll keep them coming. Let's see who taps out first.
Not the kangaroo.
No.
That hurt my back. I laughed too hard at
The
that.
kangaroo was 4 drinks deep.
Because it's South Carolina. Hey, you don't give that kangaroos drinks yet? It's 9 a.m. Virgil. Virgil, that's why we don't have a union, you dumbass.
Well, he has to drink those big Foster's beers from Australia because it's his natural.
That's where and the tariffs are killing him. The tariffs on Australian beer. You know how many kangaroos have died? It's just that's the real tragedy. Fuck this guy.
I feel obligated to point out for our Australian listeners that Foster's is not real Australian beer, and they all hate it. And that's the main thing to object to from this story. They love kangaroos beating people to death.
That's why the kangaroo was so angry, because it was Foster's beer, and he's like, "That's no." I can't do the accent.
That's why when you look
Really?
at the
I was
map
gonna
of
do it
Australia,
specific.
it's like only people living on the coasts and the middle is all outback because it's ruled by the kangaroos.
100%.
Drunk kangaroo.
Roaming drunken gangs of kangaroos.
It's all Mad Max. They're on dune buggies and stuff.
And those poles, the pole.
Okay, I shouldn't have said no matter how many riffs you do. I acknowledge that was my failure, but as your friend, I'm asking you to release me from this covenant.
Oh, Luke, hand me some of those back beds. They're great.
Release me from this covenant. It's great.
So the guy who died was the brother.
Oh, yeah, man's dead.
This is like that opening of Brooklyn Nine-Nine where they do a whole bit and then forget that the whole thing was about murder.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Here we
guy's
go.
dead. All right.
The guy who died was the brother of the owner of the petting zoo. And he liked to enter the enclosure that contained kangaroos and wallabies and roughhouse with a kangaroo named Jack. Turns out Jack didn't like it as much.
You can't see this, but Luke is crying.
So are you, for the record.
Can we air this? We don't come off looking good.
I mean, at least we weren't like this when we were talking about like the war in Ukraine. This is just some drunk hillbilly getting beat up.
Oh, my stomach hurts.
Oh, man. Hey, he wasn't just getting beat up. He was trying to beat that kangaroo down.
It's his fault. It's self-defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
If the judge rules, it's clear self-defense.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, okay. Anyways,
Do you think his last words were, "Hey kids, watch this"?
Some stupid little class trip that just went to learn about marsupials.
I debated including this because I thought this was too grim a subject.
You were wrong, my man.
You're both right and wrong.
How can you look at us and think they will think somber thoughts about a man punching
I didn't
a
think
kangaroo?
somber. I just didn't know it'd be 20 minutes.
All right, guys, now a moment of silence.
Oh no. Anyways,
Crikey.
all right. Our next, no points on that one, shockingly.
There'd be negative points for that.
Our next question: why did a Winnipeg man sue his ex-girlfriend for $5 million after she ghosted him?
Because she left him in Winnipeg.
Stay down, Winnipeg.
I was going to say
punitive damages.
he was embarrassed because she convinced him ghosts weren't real. It's a terrible joke. I didn't have anything.
Nice. Nice. I mean, listen, nothing's gonna follow the kangaroo
I
thing.
know, I've
That's
given
true.
up.
That is true.
I had because Andrew Tate told him that's how you establish dominance. But that's not a kangaroo.
You know how you establish dominance.
Oh, goddamn.
You find the biggest kangaroo in the yard. You say, "Hey kids, watch this," and you take a
You
swing.
take a shot of tequila.
You want to be a zookeeper. First thing you do in the morning, you find yourself the biggest kangaroo in the yard. You look at that son of a bitch right now. You say, "Hey kids, watch this."
Does anyone know the correct answer?
Oh God, he's kicking me! Who knew they could kick?
Wait, that's not fair. You ain't allowed to kick.
Who knew they could kick? They famously hop everywhere. What do you mean, who knew they could kick?
How is it choking me out? Where's he getting this?
Ow, the shark bit me. Who knew it had teeth?
Kangaroo in a big tap-out shirt.
No, I don't know the real answer.
Because she stole his winning lottery ticket.
I have to look back at my notes to find
That's
out what
fair.
the question was.
This was the why did he sue her for $5 million after she ghosted him. So he won the lottery. I mean, according to him, he won the lottery, gave her the ticket to hold. And then when they found out they won, she like disappeared, and then
Get your money, girl.
days later he found her in bed with another man. So it's like almost like she had this whole master plan of like, here's how I get in, get out, like get rich quick scheme that all depended on him winning the lottery.
It was a real long plan, long con.
Yeah, and they'd been together. This wasn't like, oh, we went on some dates. They had been together. They lived together. They had been together for a long time. She just, the second they were rich, she was like, I don't want 2.5. I want 5. Peace.
Every week she's calling her guy on the side and being like, I got bad news again. We once again did not win the lottery. Hold on the plan.
Hold on,
Hold on, baby,
hold on. It's only a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
All right. Next question. A new scented candle is on the market that promises purchasers that it will fill their homes with what uniquely Canadian smell? And I will give you a bit of a clue because it's a hard one. It has been mentioned on this podcast already.
Oh.
That gets all rid of all of my answers.
Yeah, I wrote a bunch of jokes for this. But
Me
thanks,
too.
Luke.
I know. I was going to say it kind of smells like not really anything, like a bit sort of sometimes like the US and a bit of UK in there. And then you're like, wait, is this a mosaic? Not really. What is that?
It's a new bespoke smell called Discipline Daddy.
I was going to say Canada Goose Poo, but now I'm just going to say Winnipeg.
How? You are on the right track. It is a city
Okay.
that has been mentioned on this podcast.
Ottawa?
All right, let's do it.
Good
Wait,
guess. You were the one who mentioned it.
I mentioned it?
Yep.
What cities have I mentioned?
Vancouver?
In the context of someone.
Kangaroo?
I don't know why I'm giving so many clues. It was, you said it in the
South
context of someone
Carolina?
doing a casino gig in.
Regina?
Yeah. Smells like Regina. I led you to water and forced you to drink.
Regina. Now I want to. Wait, I've been to Regina. What does it smell like?
Which, for a bonus point, can anyone describe what the city of Regina smells like according to this scented candle company?
I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to say lilacs. I don't know why. I'm going to assume they have a lot of lilacs.
Great guess. Not on the list. but
I mean, I've
great
heard
guess.
the dirty limerick smells like Regina, but
The answer, according to the company. Sorry, did you want to take another shot?
No, I don't know
According to the
why. I've
company,
suddenly become really competitive, and I really want this for some
one
reason.
point,
and I'm
really.
not going to.
According to the company, the smell of Regina is sage, lavender, cedar, and vanilla. To which I call bullshit.
yes. Is there an anthropology in Regina?
Basic ass
Vanilla?
smells.
Yeah. Yeah, there was no bacon or disappointment in there. This is bullshit. I've never been to Regina.
Wheat.
Doesn't smell like Brent Butt at all.
That's the Saskatoon scented candle.
Yes.
Famously, I have no idea where Brent Butt's from. I mean, Saskatchewan, but I don't know where.
I think Vancouver. I think.
Vancouver, Saskatchewan.
I don't think
no,
he's
Brent
famously
Butt-
from Saskatchewan.
Is he?
Well, he made a whole show about it.
No, but it doesn't mean he's from there. Maybe he just likes it.
I'm pretty sure he's from.
All right.
I think I assumed it. Oh no.
I thought he was from Vancouver.
We will edit this out if he's not actually from Saskatchewan, but
No,
I'm
let's
pretty
keep it in.
sure
Keep
he's
Keep it
from.
all in, baby.
Let's go.
What's up, Brett?
Our last question is complete the headline, where I'm going to read a headline missing some words. You guys fill it in for me. Norwegian man awakens to find huge blank in his garden.
Fjord.
Ooh, like it.
Embittered Scandinavian detective solving a grisly murder that is a metaphor for his own trauma.
Hey, nice.
Played by David Tennant somehow.
Somehow, yeah.
Oh, wait. I think I know the answer to this.
That's good. It's a question.
Was it
We're getting
in his own
punchy.
garden? I know this. Is it a cargo ship?
Yes, it is a cargo ship.
Yeah, I saw I was scrolling through YouTube and his poor bastard's like, and it was so Norwegian. It's like, no, I can't do the accent. But it was like, no, that's what, Swedish?
I mean,
It's all the same.
Come on. They're next to each other. It's close enough.
Take that, Swedish.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you don't do the full Swedish chef, but if you want to do that, too,
Hurdy,
that's
hurdy,
fine.
beardy.
Yeah.
There we go.
Computer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right, because it almost hit his house, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The 135-meter ship ran aground and missed his Johan Helberg, very Norwegian name, house by meters at about 5 a.m. local time on Thursday. He didn't hear anything.
Amazing.
He didn't know what happened. He was alerted to the situation when a neighbor frantically rang his doorbell. And he said, the doorbell rang at a time of day when I don't like to open. The most
Oh, I
Scandinavian
feel that deep in my
response
heart.
That's the most like, look, I was doing some personal stuff and I didn't want anyone interrupting. I don't give a shit if it's a ship or my neighbor. This is a me time situation.
Yeah, what is Scandinavian for jacking it?
Herdeber.
By the way,
that
for
on
a joke
t-shirt.
answer for this, he found a huge something in his garden. I did try to look up Norwegian for penis. It's just penis.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Boo.
I know, right?
I hate when they do
So
that.
derivative.
Well, because there was no, when the Norwegian language was written, there were no penises. So they
No,
didn't
not
have-
yet, not
they didn't
invented
have-
yet.
yeah.
Oh.
You know what's crazy is that if that ship had hit his house, it would only be the second funniest death on the show.
All right, that's a point away from Niall. But well, that is the end of our quiz, and I can announce that our winner is Niles again. Congratulations!
Well done, God, nice quiz.
Before I turn it over to you, Ian has kindly reminded me that I forgot to do the usual plug I do before the quiz, which is if everyone listening could please go on your app of choice if you haven't already, give us 5 stars, leave a review, go on social media, talk about the show, share our video clips, tell your friends to listen to it. It all helps us move up in those comedy charts. And if you are so inclined, if you're interested, if you got a few extra dollars you found in an old coat, please join us on Patreon, where we do an extended cut of this episode every week. You might be wondering, hey, this week they didn't talk anything about Trump. Actually, we did. It's all in the Patreon extended cut sitting there for you, as well as all our back episodes from when we relaunched the podcast. You also get exclusive articles every week, plus a ton of perks like merch, et cetera, et cetera. Check us out, patreon.com/thebeaverton. And thank you so much for listening. Niall, what can the people check out for you?
Well, I've already mentioned the podcast that I run, Total Annihilation, which is a good news podcast, as well as Comedians in Dungeons Getting Dragons, which is a fun podcast I do with some funny people.
Excellent. Ian McIntyre.
Check me out on thebeaverton.com. I should write some more articles. It's been a minute.
You've written so many this year, Ian's clearly written the most of any one of our writers this
Yeah,
year.
but I got real lazy the last couple weeks. So.
How dare you, sir? Claire Blackwood.
You can find me on Blue Sky and on YouTube.
Yeah, feel free to give her your thoughts on the monarchy. And
Oh yeah, please feel no. Oh God, I almost said please feel free to yell at me, and I'm like, don't. No.
Yeah,
People
no,
will take that
don't-
seriously.
even in jest, don't say that.
bring that bad juju on yourself.
Yeah, no.
all right, wonderful. Thank you all for being here. I'm Luke Grimfield. You can find me at the Physio Clinic on Queen Street East in the Beaches, where I'm still trying to figure out this back thing, as well as my pharmacist's office, where I get refills on my muscle relaxants. Thank you very much for listening. Have a wonderful week. Bye.
The Beaverton Weekly Report is produced by Andrew Rivamy in partnership with the From Superheroes Network. Visit FromSuperheroes.com to hear more great podcasts like this.